Do you love to play Magic Online but have a tight budget? Check out Mtgo Academy's Academy Budget Bot in the Magic Online Classifieds. All cards in stock are cheaper than one event ticket.
Hello everybody, Planet Walls here. I have just started recording the first Playing the Unplayable Vintage Masters draft video. This is an 8-4 for Vintage Masters. I've drafted the set now 3 times, so I'm still quite new to it. One of those drafts went really well, didn't lose a game in an 8-4, and the other 2 didn't go as well for various reasons within and outside of our control. I'm going to be attempting to draft a playable deck. That's going to be the goal, but we're of course going to take any money cards when we find them. In this first pack, Suchi is a decent playable card. What I found, my preliminary expectations of the set, were that you could do a bunch of powerful stuff like in Cube. It's a little slower than that in my experience, and some commons are a little bit better. So like Ether Mutation, I kind of like this card, but I don't necessarily want to go green-blue. I like Karmic Guide as a... I mean, this is just a good card. The 5 mana isn't great for the Echo, and it's a little expensive. It reanimates a guy, but it does commit us a bit to white, and I'm not sure if I want to do that, but white is solid. It's got good removal and exile and some other cards. There's also an Expunge in this pack, which is good. Even Wall of Diffusion, Mana War, all these things are good. I also like Brindle Showed a lot. Su-Chi is the card that keeps us open, and what we have to remember is that we're passing an Ether Mutation, a Mana War, a Karmic Guide, and an Exile. But I think I'm going to take the Su-Chi just because a 4-4 for 4 in any deck is decent. So that's what I'm going to start out with. Not very exciting, but there we go. So this is good. The last pack, there weren't very many, if I recall, good black cards except for Expunge. But here we have Famine, which deals 3 to everything. We notice that the rare is missing here, so that doesn't tell us much. There's a Rescind, which is fine. I actually like Death's Head Buzzard for... running these colors. Famine is already good with Su-Chi because we can follow up the Su-Chi with a Famine and it doesn't kill it. And I also like the art on this card because it looks like some of Cotton Hume's friends, even though Cotton Hume lived distantly enough from one another that they wouldn't have hung out together, and also they were in different countries. But the point is, it looks like some Victorian people are looking at a lotus-shaped bowl, and they're sad that there isn't that much food there. So this is a good, basically, quasi-wrath. We're passing the Dothy Mercenary, which is a good card and is to be respected, and the Death's Head, whatever this thing is. I also like Mistmoon Griffin a lot. So I'm going to take the Famine here. This is interesting because this basically does what Karmic Guide does too, only it's not attached to a body. There's also this Gust Cloak, which is good in the air. Certainly not bad. There's a Spark Spray, which I found to be okay. It's not great. Foil Bearded Man. It looks like they redesigned Orcish Lumberjack after World of Warcraft to decide to make him look a little bit more like a burly barbarian. This Frantic Search isn't that interesting, and there isn't really anything great black here. This thing's a decent aggressive card, so is Fledgling Djinn, but there's like Giant Mantis in the set and other stuff to just block this. Rocky Tarpit is pretty uninteresting to me for now, and I don't necessarily want to take an Elephant Guide, so I think I should just take the most powerful card in this pack. But it's kind of hard to tell what that is. I could take like Gust Cloak and go to another color. I just want to be absolutely sure. Also, the Elephant Guide is pretty good. I'm going to take the Gust Cloak, I think. Just the flyer. Might not play it. What do we have here? There's Chain Lightning, which is solid, and I might take that. This card is also good. I actually think this card might be insane. It's mana intensive, obviously, but it works pretty well in an aggro deck. There's also this Chain Lightning that I really like. But I'm kind of interested to try playing the Gerard's Battlecry. It's hard to remove because it's an enchantment. And like just winning combat is really good in this set as far as I can tell so far. I'm not beholden to this Famine. We might not keep it. So this also gives us like a first turn play. It's not the best card in the world. It's mana intensive, as I said. So between that and the Chain Lightning, I guess it's hard for me to assess. Chain Lightning, I know exactly what it's going to do. Gerard's Battlecry, less sure. But I'm going to go with it. Now here we have another Gust Cloak, which is fine. A Reanimate, which is conditionally good. I actually like Reanimate. Chris and I had a discussion about this. He likes it a lot less than I do. Now, Dauthi Mercenary is a good aggressive creature. It's very good, but I think I want to stick to my solid white for now. Keep in mind this Chartooth is here too. These cards are just in general good because they can turn into lands, which is always good in a deck of any sort. Really, Choking Tethers is also good. It can kind of just let you Alpha Strike through. I'm going to take another Gust Cloak. I like this guy. He's probably going to be a little bit better with Pants on him. He's essentially like Windrake most of the time, but he can attack into walls a little bit better. Yeah, maybe I'm overvaluing Gust Cloak. I'm starting to worry about that. But here we have an Exile and a Noble Templar. We also have this card. Giant Mantis stops our Gust Cloak cold, but they can at least avoid attacking into him. Lurking Evil. It's a little dangerous for something I'd be willing to do for a 4/4 with flying. In between these two, but I think I'm going to take the removal spell. Alright, Caldera Lake foil, that's funny. Ether Mutation, there's another one of these. And there's a counter spell here. So that's interesting. There's also an Expunge. So Shelter is fine. I would be willing to play a Shelter for sure. I think, though, I'm going to take the Expunge here. I'm not certain of that pick. Right now our deck is kind of boring, but it's not horrible. This guy's fine. 3/5 in a late game. And there's like not much else that's really excellent here. Paralyze is an okay removal spell. If inconsistent. And I'm not sure how good this guy is. He's a 2/4. Like the key toughness here are 3 and then 5. I'm sorry, 4 and 5, because 1 survives Chain Lightning, and 5 toughness survives like Suchi and a bunch of other stuff bashing in. I'm going to go ahead and take the Mystic Zealot, but Paralyze is okay. This is the pack we opened. The Tranquil Thicket is relevant, but I'm going to take the Exile. Here, all these cards are actually good and interesting. The Griffin is like source of card advantage, but Death's Head can get us out of like Goblin situation and a lot of 1/1s. There's also the Dauthi Mercenary. This is tougher for me to figure out what to do. I think with the Famine that we might play, Mistmoon might just be better. Not convinced of that. Here, I could see going for the Rocky Tar Pit. The rest of these cards aren't that interesting. But I'm going to go with the creature. I'm going to stick to planning on playing aggressively. Like, the Exiles sort of don't work quite as well as I would like. Here, the Skywing Aven. I think the Tranquil Thicket is probably the best card in this pack. This is Pants, but it makes guys die super easily. I'll take the Skywing Aven and just hate it. And then here, this Cougar is probably the better card, but I'm going to take this just in case. I'm just not excited about it. Here we'll take the Aquamoeba. I'm going to hide the Caldera Lake. Aquamoeba is not irrelevant. Yeah, I'm not necessarily... We don't have anything that wows me. Right now we're playing like an aggressive deck where Famine kills all our own guys. Now here's a Yawgmoth's Will. Trying to figure out how good that's going to be in our deck. Probably not very. I guess like super late game it lets us draw a couple cards. But it lets us like flash probably 1 card back for its casting cost. So that's pretty expensive. Chainer's Edict is probably much better. I mean, I could check to see how much this costs using the fancy Mtgo Academy whatever tool. So I guess I'll arbitrarily show that off. Let's look up how much Yawgmoth's Will is. So it's like $5, so not enough for me to care about. All right. So insofar as that's the case, if I weren't making content, I might take it. It's also like powerful in a Storm deck, but we're not playing that. I think I have to take the Chainer's Edict because it's such a good control card. I hope that this laps or that this laps. Actually, this is fine too. I don't really like this color combo, but we'll go with the Chainer's Edict. It's just good removal. This is good. Soltari Troopers. Ooh, there's another Chainer's Edict. And a Baronmoor. I really hope this laps or the Radiance Judgment. Stoic Champion is also just a good card. Turning your Cycling's cards basically into cantrip combat tricks is really strong. And also just playing creatures is strong, but I'm going to take this, like, 2x removal. Here we have a Hymn, that's funny. This card is good. I don't want to take that, that's sort of awkward. Our 3-drop slot has a bunch of stuff there that we want to be doing. Chimeric Idol is hard to remove. It survives famine. I kind of like this, but it's another 3-drop in an already heavy slot. This hymn, I am not super excited. Like, I would play it probably, but I'm not super excited with it yet. I'm between the Soltari Emissary and the Chimeric Idol, primarily. Thopter Squadron is less interesting to me, even though it flies. Like, the Chimeric Idol is just cool as a trained Armadon that survives Expunge. I guess it's not... Doesn't get Chain Lightning because that's a sorcery. I'm going to go with this. I'm not sure it's great. Here we go. This is what we were looking for. And there's also an Astral Slide here, which is good. Look at the funny Psychotog art. He looks like a jelly alien. Carnophage, a little uninteresting in our deck. Just because 2 toughness isn't that great. There's also this Flame Tongue, which is nuts. I would even consider splashing this or figuring out some way to cast it soon if I could. Astral Slide is also strong, but I'm going to take Piana, and now our 3-drop slot is looking a little bit glutted. Sulfuric Vortex is also good. We have a Benalis Trapper in this pack, though. There's also Mesmeric Fiend. So, like, white is proving to be pretty open. Benalis Trapper is just, like, a good removal spell. Dude. It's a tapper. Here we've got another Idol. We also have a Plane Cycler, which we don't have yet, and is probably strong. There's another Chain Lightning, which is pretty late for Chain Lightning. This guy is also really good. He just Fs with combat, and he's pretty big. And so I could just hope to find more of these guys later. If I take this now. Yeah, we'll worry about more Noble Templar stuff later. I'm not convinced that that's the right play, but I just want to play a ton of guys. Foil Frantic Search, I guess that's kind of nice. I don't know. Afterlife is a decent removal spell. It prevents Regenerate, which is good. Exile also prevents that, obviously. I think I'm going to go with this, though. Mistmoon is just good with Famine. Oh, Goblin Trenches. I want to make tons of guys. I want another Death's Head, dude. Screw all these cards. We're taking this guy. The Shadow thing is good. Secluded Step or Death's Head. This is hard for me. It's actually really hard for me to figure out which card to take, because these cycle lands are really strong, I think. I'm going to take the Death's Head. That could be wrong. Now here we have a Radiance Judgment, a Seal of Cleansing. God, there's still a Solar Blast in the pack. Maybe that's telling me that I should have been red. Like, somebody's going to have a really strong red deck. In terms of what cycling cards we have so far, maybe none. I keep talking about how I want to pick them up. I'm going to take this and leave ourselves open to play it later. Here, out of these, I think Baron Moore is the strongest card. I'm going to hide it for now. Temporal Fissure is fine. Spinal Graft actually... And I don't know, I guess it just makes your guy huge. You can put it on like Dauthi Mercenary or Soltari Emissary. I think it might be better than Carnophage. So I'm going to take it and then sort of hide it because I don't think it's that good. Out of these cards... I guess that could create some kind of crazy combo with somebody. I'm going to take the Spark Spray just to hate it. None of those are very interesting. Here I'm taking the Cycler in case we go the Stoic Champion route and get more of those. Otherwise, this deck is unremarkable. Gamble, I've opened up. So we didn't open anything really great. There's another Chain Lightning. This is a really weak pack for us. There's just like nothing here that we want. That's too bad. I almost just want to take the Chain Lightning. I mean, like, do I really want to play more 3-cast removal? I'm just not sure I would play... I mean, Afterlife is fine. I'm just not sure that I would be playing a lot of this. Like, I could take the Serendipity too. Yeah, what a boring pack. I'm going to take the Chain Lightning. That might be silly. Oh, there's a Masticore. Okay. That's good. I mean, this card's nuts. There's also an Imperial Armor, which I would be willing to take. I hope that the Secluded Step or the Paralyzed comes back, or the Dothy Mercenary. I don't think that'll happen. We're going to be taking this card for sure. This destroys all green creatures, which is fine. There's another Gust Cloak. There's another Chainer's Edict, and I think that's what I have to take. Animate Dead is also relevant, and there's another Dothy Mercenary, but we're taking the Chainer's Edict. And we've got a ton of reactive cards. This is probably not going to get in there. Yeah. Like, what does this look like right now? I like the idea of this Mistmoon Griffin, because it can get back Masticore if it's removed somehow. Yeah, I kind of want another one of these. This deck is kind of at odds with itself, because half of its cards are promoting like an aggro plan, and the other half are just like control-ish cards. I guess because like Exile doesn't remove stuff that's on D. Like here, what do? I think I take the Phantom Nomad, but Shelter is also strong. Like keeps up momentum if they have removal or if they have a blocker. Keeps them from being able to trade. But I'm going to take the dude here. Here we've got a Foil Solar Blast, another Gust Cloak, which is not the most exciting thing. Funny looking tendrils that are causing a lot of agony in someone. I think Tyrant's Choice. So you just basically cause your opponent to lose 4 life. That could be relevant. I just don't know if I want to play it though. Brilliant Halo is super unexciting. None of these cards are extra exciting in this pack. Like I almost just want to take this. I guess you could take another Gust Cloak. I just think it's probably a lot less strong than I'd hoped. Yeah. I'm not sure about any of these cards. I'm going to take the... I don't want to take this either. I mean, maybe I should hate it from the guy who has the Yawgmoth's Will, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the Solar Blast. I could see still splashing, maybe. And then here the question is, do I take Salt Flats, which is like bad mana fixing? Do I take the giant 4/4 First Strike, which dominates combat? Do I take this card, which is great? Do I take the Cycling Land, or do I take Noble Templar? And I think out of all those, I'd probably take the Noble Templar. It finds a land, it's just good. Here's a Foil Regrowth, who cares? This is the sort of card I wanted to see. I didn't see any of them until now. Let's not take that. Let's take the Predatory Night Stalker. And we have another Famine. We're going to take that. And here, like Gamble, not very exciting. This thing doesn't do anything for us. Choking Sands could, in theory, be relevant at some point. I'm going to take the Taro's Faithful, but that's probably not getting in there. Rather than take the Imperial Armor, which occasionally is insane, I'm going to take the Cycle Land. And here, I have 2 Cycle Lands and a Death's Head. This is good sideboard stuff, a second one, for sure. This isn't bad sideboard. I just don't like how heavy my 3-drop area is right now. I'm going to take another Cycle Land. Here, I'm going to take a Guided Light, just as another Cycler, in case... I mean, this Stoic Champion is not super exciting in our deck, for sure. It's basically just like a hard-to-cast Grizzly Bear that... I guess, like, occasionally we plane cycle and it gets +2/+2. So, our deck is, like, not super synergistic. That's the problem. It's sort of at odds with itself. It's playing a control game without a ton of tools. So, like, Dothy Mercenary may be really good in it. It just depends. Like, some games are probably going to be set up where we play, like, some guys, Chainer's Edict, keep attacking, and then get stalled out by something until we find more removal. And kind of nervous about another one of these going around. So I'm going to take that. I mean, we're not going to play it. We're not going to storm anybody out. I actually like Predatory Night Stalker a lot. Originally I thought this card was going to be too expensive to be very useful. But what I've found so far is that it's just good all around. And this is awesome. Both these cards are actually really strong. I'm going to take the Salt Flats as mana fixing, even though the other card there was totally reasonable. Alright. So I'm doing my best to mitigate the amount of getting screwed we are. So I'm going to put these 4 lands in because they're all going to go in there. We'll just have to remember that. Battle Cry in there. Let's put all this junk in here and then let's take out what we're probably not going to play. I think that's the best way to go. So we took some of these, made our deck a little bit worse, but I'm not sure we made it that much worse. Because the stuff that we are going to cut is going to be sort of fine anyway. Terra's Faithful is not going to get in there. Tendril is not going to get in there. Those cards are probably all going to get in there. Alright, this is... Let's see. Just want to make sure. These Gilded Lights need to leave the primary spot. Spinal Graft is almost assuredly not going to make it. Chainer's Edicts get down here, and Gerard's whatever get down here. Alright, so this is 32 cards. It's 28. This is going to be... Because we have these Chainer's Edicts, it's going to be a 17-land deck. So that means we need to cut 5 cards from this. I think one of those right away is going to be the Stoic Champion. Yeah, I just don't think it does enough, and we don't have enough. Like, there's Expunge that can be a combat trick with it, but it's better as an Expunge, and then there's this Plane Cycler. Yeah, so our deck's a little on the expensive side. There's Exile, and there's Expunge. One of those is probably worse than the other. There's also this Dothian Mercenary, which is not excellent. Mystic Zealot is fine late game. It also survives Famine, which I want to play both of. Like, we're good in this 4-drop slot. The next question is, like, do I cut the Death's Head? Because Famine plus Death's Head kills Suchi and Masticore, which isn't good, obviously. So I think I'm going to cut this and move it to the board, and I probably will with some frequency bring that in. So let's see. Now what do we probably want to cut? I probably want to cut an Exile, because I just don't think it's super excellent. I kind of wish I would have gone with Chain Lightning at the beginning. White was strong, but I think red probably would have made for a little bit better of a deck. So we want to cut 2 more cards. These Gust Cloaks aren't the best in the world. I know I took them really high, but I'm starting to regret that. We just have like a lot of guys that I wish were Flame Tongue Kavus. Like, our deck just looks really kind of unexciting. This Fledgling Djinn... Like, do we want to keep this in there? I don't think it's that great. It's okay. I guess it's good with, like, Battle Cry later. I'm not worried about dying. Also, the fact that we have this means we definitely play 17 lands, because we can cycle these 3. So what do I want to cut? Maybe something on the expensive end, but our deck is actually relatively low. This guy, not super exciting. He's a good blocker, I guess, sometimes, for other Shadow guys. We've got a lot of ways to deal with Shadow guys, though. So I'm going to cut this. Our black mana is super awkward, because, like, the Defiler, Nightstalker, and the Famines cost black, and then we've got a bunch of these white things in the 3-drop slot. That's not great. I might want to cut the Exile, actually, and move it to the board, even though it's good, because I just want to keep aggro all the time. I mean, this doesn't eliminate most Shadow guys because they're white, and this says non-white attacker gain life. I just want to have, like, an effective group of combatants, so I don't want to cut another dude. I'm cutting that, not sure that that's right. So let's figure out what the color is here. It's going to be very close, which is always for an awkward deck. It'll be like 7 and 6 in favor of white, I think. And then we've also got these. So if it were 17 lands I were looking at, it would be probably 9 and 8. And with these, that gives us a little bit more leeway. So I'll do 7 and 6 would make for like 10 and 7. Like, we just don't need black as quickly, but then we need a lot of it later. I could see, like, losing because we can't cast a Predatory Nightstalker or a Famine. I don't want that to happen. So let's go 7 and 6. That's what it suggests, which always makes me doubt my decision. So we've got 10 white plus 8 black, I guess, in the end. It seems okay. I'll just have to be careful cycling the Baron more. Alright, not confident about this, for sure. But let's go with it. See you guys in round 1.